Good day to everyone watching. In this video, we will be talking about the racism that OFWs and Filipino immigrants experience. But first, why do Filipinos work and move abroad? It was said that over 2 million Filipinos have migrated to different foreign countries over the past year. It was predicted that as a lot of borders have opened once again due to the pandemic, the rate of immigrants will continue to rise this year. We will be now interviewing a Filipino immigrant about the positive and negative effects of immigration. How long have you been an immigrant? And could you please state your experiences?
I have been a Filipino immigrant for about 3 years and I migrated to the United States. I also work here as a registered nurse and I can say that I have a decent pay.
Why did you choose to migrate to the States even though there are known issues, especially with Asians in the country?
I chose to migrate to help my family that stays in the Philippines, and by being here, I can assure a higher chance for a better quality of life for the both of us. I would also have a more decent income than working in our country, and I get to have different opportunities and live and work the life I want. I also believe that in this country, I can get more benefits, which leads me to save more money for myself and my family. Back when I was working in the Philippines, I found it hard to have a job that paid me consistently, and that was the time I decided to work abroad. After years of working, I decided to migrate and visit my hometown occasionally.
It seems like migrating is actually a great idea, but I heard that there are also negative effects.
Yes, I have experienced discrimination against locals often. As a Filipino, I usually get threats from the locals just by walking down the street. They say racial slurs and negative things to me, like, "Go back to your country, you don't belong here." Sometimes I've seen my coworkers get attacked without a reason. Those are not the only things we experience. In my 3 years of living, I have experienced abuse and sexual harassment. I can admit that it's still hard adjusting and being prone to these discriminations. But I'm doing this for myself and my family.
I'm very sorry to hear that you experienced that, and we thank you for your time and insights about Filipino immigrants.
Discrimination is a widely known issue that the entire world continues to face, and a lot of people get affected by it even in the simplest ways. Discrimination is the prejudicial or unjust way of treating someone based on their skin color, gender, race, and many more. This abuse ranges from verbal abuse to physical abuse, mainly directed towards their culture and ethnicity. In a workplace setting, Filipinos are reported to earn a lot less than other favored races. They are less likely to get a promotion or raise. Filipinos have shared their experiences and feelings about the hate they have experienced. Some state that they feel like they are undervalued, unappreciated, and isolated. A much more specific way to talk about this topic is called racism. Racism is a form of prejudice that assumes that the members of racial categories have distinctive characteristics and that these differences result in some racial groups being inferior to others. Stereotypes are another reason Filipinos are treated differently abroad. For example, when people abroad see a Filipino, they immediately conclude in their brains that a Filipino is a nurse. Another stereotype is that when an American man marries a Filipino woman, people immediately think that the Filipina is a gold digger. Though some stereotypes are not that harmful, they encourage people to have a fixed opinion about someone, which results in them treating that person differently and discriminating against them.
As citizens of the Philippines, there are ways that we can help solve the issue of racism towards Filipino immigrants and OFWs. Abuses and violation of human rights are quite common. Because of this, we must stop them by taking part in peaceful protests and signing petitions that further the cause of stopping human rights abuses. Furthermore, you can participate in a service learning project or join a community service group. You can decide to become an advocate, join an advocacy group, publicly advocate for human rights causes, send letters to elected authorities, or take part in protests or other awareness-raising activities. Racism also serves as a major contributor to the health disparities experienced by Filipino immigrants and OFWs. The distinct experiences of survivors must be acknowledged and supported. Recognizing racism's occurrence is the first step in ending it. For racism to end, each person must make a personal commitment to racial equality. The first step in personal anti-racism is for people to struggle to remove racist systems. Anti-racism work is a lifetime endeavor. It's not a task that you can cross off a list. It requires ongoing introspection and a readiness to accept responsibility.
It is our responsibility as Filipino citizens to uphold our country's laws and regulations. By doing so, we can contribute to the maintenance of peace and order in our community and country. In the case of racism against OFWs and immigrants, we can take the following actions. Number 1. Educate ourselves and others about racism's negative effects. We must recognize that racism can result in discrimination, harassment, and even violence against people based on their race or ethnicity. Number 2. Report any racist incidents to the authorities. If we see or experience racism, we should report it to the proper authorities so that the perpetrators can be held accountable. Number 3. Encourage inclusivity and diversity. We should embrace and celebrate our country's diversity as well as promote inclusivity in our communities. We must respect and appreciate our fellow Filipinos and immigrants' diverse cultures, beliefs, and traditions. Number 4. Anti-racism initiatives should be supported. We can help organizations and initiatives that fight racism and promote equality and justice for all. By performing our community responsibilities and duties, we may contribute to creating a peaceful and harmonious community and country in which everyone is treated with respect and dignity, regardless of race or ethnicity. Furthermore, a peaceful country can devote more resources to social welfare programs such as education and healthcare, raising its citizens' standard of living. A peaceful nation can significantly improve its citizens' quality of life and foster positive relationships with other countries.
In conclusion, if you take these steps to combat racism towards OFWs and Filipino immigrants, our community and country will become more inclusive and respectful of diversity. By educating ourselves and promoting inclusivity, we can create a more harmonious society where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. Reporting incidents of racism will send a message that such behavior will not be tolerated and perpetrators will face consequences. Supporting initiatives that fight against racism will help create a culture of equality and justice for all. Ultimately, taking these steps will lead to more unity and prosperity in the Philippines.